Okay, gentlemen, we'll start with the roll call. Dan Kennedy,
Present.
Dennis O'Connor,
Present.
Deep Bassi,
Present.
Paul Sedra.
Present.
Okay, so welcome to the virtual meeting of the Planning Development Advisory Committee for July the 14th, 2020. There are two meetings tonight, one being the Committee of Adjustment and the second being the Advisory Committee. There will be two minor variances, applications for consideration advisory committee, and in the second meeting, there'll be 6 consent or severances that the advisory committee will provide comments on to the county land division committee. Please note that the meeting is video and audio recorded, and all electronic media meetings are uploaded to the municipality's YouTube page. By registering to participate in the meeting by electronic means, you are consenting to have your likeness and comments recorded and posted on YouTube. Okay, so now we'll move to item 2 of the agenda, which is disclosure of pecuniary interest. In the future, I'll be asking each one of you to submit in writing prior to the meeting to our Secretary Treasurer. So for this meeting, I'll just go around the table again, same order, asking you, do you have any conflict of interest? Dan?
No, none for me.
Dennis?
None for me.
Deep?
No.
Paul?
No, none for me.
Great, thank you. So move on to item 3, approval of minutes of March the 10th, 2020. Do I have a mover? Dennis, second. Dan? We'll vote by consent, so I'll go around the table. Dan?
Yes.
Dennis?
Yes.
Deep?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
I'm in favor as well. Okay, the purpose of this hearing is to inform and provide the public with the opportunity to ask questions or express views with respect to minor variance application before us today. The township requests you please notify the secretary of the committee by email at lbanks@puslinch.ca if you wish to be on record and would like to be notified of future hearings and decisions regarding any of these applications. The format of the hearing as follows. Staff will present the information report, specifically outline the purpose of the application, summarizing compliance with the township notification of submission requirements, and outlining staff comments. Then we'll ask the applicant to present the purpose and details of the application and provide any further information. Following this, the public can obtain clarification, ask questions, and express their views on the proposal. You will have a maximum of 10 minutes to speak. Following this, the members of the committee can obtain clarification, ask questions. The committee will deliberate the application, render decision. The decision will be subject to a 20-day appeal period. So moving on to the applications for minor variance or permission under Section 45 of the Planning Act. 4A, minor variance application D13 DOU Trevor Douglas, property described as rear part lot 7, concession 4, municipally known as 6644 Forestell Road, Township of Puslinch. 1, requesting relief of new comprehensive zoning bylaw number 023-2018 as amended to permit a maximum height of accessory structure to be 9.02 meters to the peak of the roof instead of 5 meters as required. 2, requesting relief of new comprehensive zoning bylaw 023-2018 as amended to permit a maximum lot coverage of an accessory structure to be 5% instead of 5.1% as 5% as required. So I'll ask Secretary Treasurer Lynn Banks to please summarize the application, notifications, and submission requirements, outlining staff, agency, and public comments and recommendations. Lynn?
Notice of the application was given in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act. Notice requirements for the application have been met, and no comments or objections were received from the agencies or from circulations.
Good, thank you. Would now we move to the applicant or agent for the applicant. Would Deputy Clerk Courtney White-Fox have the owner applicant or applicant join the panels to present her application? I see you on the board, Trevor, but your mic seems to be muted.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you now, Trevor. Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Courtney, would you please have the drawing come up so we can talk to it? Okay, Trevor, would you please discuss the application and for the record, before you start, state your name and address.
Okay, Trevor Douglas. My address is 6644 Forrestal Road, Guelph. My application is for a shop to be built in the rear corner of my property. I need a variance of the height of the roof to 9 meters opposed to 5. Reason for this is I've got a RV that's 11 or 12 feet tall, so I need the extra height to park it inside, and that's why I need the variance.
Okay. I'll ask members of the public. Lena, are there any registrants who requested to speak?
No, I did not receive any requests.
Okay. Then I'll ask Courtney, would you please advise if there are any attendees watching the hearing who would like to provide comments or ask questions with respect to the application?
There's no attendees in a present looking to speak.
Great, thank you. So we'll now turn it over to the committee. I'll ask each committee member in turn with respect to any questions or comments they may have of the applicant or the county planner. Dan?
No, I'm fine with this, John.
Okay, Dennis?
Just the height, that seems like a lot more than 11 feet that we're adding there. Is that the minimum you go?
Yeah, I've got a 16-foot interior ceiling for a 14-foot garage. I'm just going a little bigger because we do plan on buying a larger RV, like more of a diesel pusher in about 2 or 3 years. So I'm just sort of planning for that down the road. Right now I've got a C-class RV, but I will be upgrading in a few years. So I'm just sort of planning ahead.
Okay, thanks.
Keep?
Yes, I have a question regarding the canopy that's attached to the garage. Will that be connected to well or septic system for the water for the bar or no?
No. There will be water run to it, yes. But
Okay.
just for a small hand wash sink.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm good. I know. Actually, one more question. Access to that to the garage, or sorry, the shop. Will you be cutting any trees from the side of the driveway?
No.
Okay, that's it.
Paul?
Yeah, just with regards to Dennis's question on the height, Trevor, I was just looking at, it comes to about 29 feet is the peak. Was there any a thought process maybe and maybe different design to minimize that? Like, and maybe because even if, like, I guess your 12 feet was your RV now, what would the new RV be?
The new one, well, it probably would be closer to 13 feet. And we're going to go with a 14-foot square door just for that reason. As for the design, I just sort of left this up to the engineer. We gave him some parameters of size-wise what we wanted with the width and the length of the shop. And this is what he recommended as per code. So we're just going based on his recommendations for height with the rise and run of the roof. If that makes sense.
Any other questions, Paul? Paul?
John, sorry, I lost the connection there. I got cut off there.
Okay, any other questions, Paul?
Nope, that's it.
Okay.
Did you hear my reasoning for that? I didn't know if I got cut off, if you heard me or not.
Yeah, actually, I didn't hear. If you don't mind, just quickly going
Yeah,
over
no
that just one more time.
Um,
That'd be great.
Yeah, like the engineer who drew this up, we just told him, like, we gave him a footprint of the shop, 40 by 60, and we told him we wanted a 16-foot interior ceiling. So this is what he drew based on building code. So we're just going
Okay.
with what he recommended.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, I have one question. The concern is that this might be used in the future for commercial industrial use. And
Okay.
we're going to be asking you, as part of the conditions, to provide a letter confirming that there will not be any commercial industrial use of the structure.
That's fine. That's not going to happen. It's just a shop for storage.
Okay. Great. All right. So we finished with the questions. I'll read out the wording. In the matter of Section 45 of the Planning Act as amended, not in a new comprehensive zoning bylaw 023-2018 as amended, an application for a minor variance permission to allow one requesting relief of comprehensive zoning bylaw 23-2018 as amended to permit a maximum height of an accessory structure to be 9.02 meters to the peak of the roof instead of 5 meters as required, requesting relief of comprehensive zoning bylaw 23-2018 as amended to permit a maximum lot coverage accessory structure to be 5.1 instead of 5% as required. So may I have a mover and a seconder for this wording? Dennis? Moved. Second, Dan? So now we will vote on the application. So as I call out your name, I state either approved, denied, or deferred. Dan?
Approved.
Dennis?
Approved.
Steve?
Approved.
Paul?
Approved.
Approved, and I vote approved as well. So Lynn, we don't have to read the final vote. It's all approved. So let's move to the second minor variance application. So for the information of the applicant, rather, I should state that it's approved subject to a 20-day appeal period. All right, we'll move to item 4B, minor application D13 WAL, Roman Wazilad, property described as Part Lot 6, Concession 5, municipally known as 4781 Wellington Road 32, Township of Pusanj, requesting relief of new comprehensive zoning bylaw 23-2018 as amended to permit maximum floor area 52% instead of maximum 40% as required. So, Lynn, would you please summarize the application, notification, submission requirements, outlining staff, agency, and public comments and recommendations?
Notice of the application was given in accordance with the provisions of the Planning Act. Notice requirements for the application have been met, and the following comment was received from the GRCA. Information currently available at this office indicates that a portion of the subject property is within the regulated allowance adjacent to a wetland. Due to the presence of the above noted features, a portion of the property is regulated by the GRCA under Ontario Regulation 150-06. Any future development or other alteration within the regulated area will require prior written approval from the GRCA in the form of a permit pursuant to Ontario Regulation 150-06. That was the only comment that was received.
Thank you. Would Courtney please have the owner applicant join the panelists to present her application? Hi, Roman. I see you're on the screen, but your mic is muted. Okay.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Hello, Roman. Would you please state your name and address?
Roman Wallazat, 4781 Wellington Road 32. in Puslinch.
Great, thank you. Would you please present your application? And Courtney, would you please put up the drawing that shows the plan of the building? That's the one, thank you. Okay, Roman, take it away.
So
Roman?
finish our basement. Can you hear me? Sorry.
Yeah, you were breaking up at the beginning, so please.
Oh, okay. Sorry, it's the rural internet connectivity. We're trying to finish our basement apartment. Now, because of the current regulation, you can only finish 40% of your maximum house total allowance as a separate dwelling in a sense. Now, because as you can see in the drawings, the entrance for the basement is on the left side of the screen, and the washroom and the kitchen is all the way to the right. So they're on opposite ends. So as a result, it's kind of difficult for me, and it's going to ruin the makeup of the basement completely if I had to put like a little hallway to connect one part of the house to the other part. So as a result, I'm seeking for a 12% increase in the allowance to have a one-bedroom apartment as a separate apartment building, and as well as a kitchen, a washroom, and a storage room. And the rest will have access from upstairs.
Okay, thank you. Courtney, or Lynn rather, are there any registrants who requested to speak?
No, I did not receive any requests from anyone to speak.
Okay. Courtney, are there any attendants watching the hearing who would like to provide comments or ask questions regarding the application?
No, there isn't.
Great, thank you. So we'll take it to the committee now. So Dan, do you have any questions of the applicant or the county planner?
Yes, I do. The one question I had on this is this going to be set up as a legal duplex, I guess now, or is there different rules for like an in-law suite? I guess is it going to meet fire code as like a duplex requirement?
Sorry, are you asking myself, the applicant?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I couldn't tell you about the bylaws, but it will, I'm seeking a permit for an in-law suite. In order, and I'll make sure it meets the fire regulations, because yes, it will meet the fire regulations, because the bedrooms all have the windows that are there, they meet the regulations, as well as all the other areas in the open space. They also have the same large windows that meet the fire regulations, yes.
And you'll have the fire barrier between floors?
Yes, as well as between the partition of the basement as well, the area that's being, that will be accessed from upstairs for upstairs use only. It will be fire barrier that way as well, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Dennis?
I'm okay with it right now.
Deep?
I'm good with this as well.
Paul?
I'm also okay.
Okay, I just have a question. Has this been constructed already and the building department has gone through it, or are you waiting for a minor variance before you make the application to the building department?
The house has been built, but the basement is all open. So I'm waiting for the variance in order to start the construction of the basement, putting in the walls and everything.
Okay, so the question is, have these drawings been forwarded to the building department for approval?
From what I was told, I have to wait for the variance. So the initial drawings have been approved, yes. When I was building the house, they had approved the blueprints of the house. The house is about 2 years old. Now, in regards to the basement, for the basement apartment, they are not, because they had to wait for the variance to go through before I can apply for the permit.
Okay.
If that's what your question is, sorry.
Yeah, that's my question, yeah. So what I would propose is that we put a condition on a minor variance that's subject to receiving a building permit for the facility. Any other members of the committee have any comments with respect to that suggested condition?
I think that's fine, Mr. Chair, as long as I assume the building code would cover fire code.
Yes, it would. The building has to, the construction has to meet the regulations of the building code, and all the necessary points you raised would have to be covered off.
Okay, great.
Okay, so Lynn, can you read the condition that we're proposing?
Condition is that minor variance would be subject to receiving a building permit for the construction of the basement.
Okay, fair enough. All right, so what I'll do now is read the document. In the matter of Section 45 of the Planning Act as amended, a new comprehensive zoning bylaw number 23-2018 as amended, and an application for an variance requesting permission to allow requesting relief from provisions of comprehensive zoning bylaw 23-2018 as amended to permit a maximum floor area of 52% as required. And it's approved with the condition that the construction receives the necessary building permit. So do I have a mover and a seconder to accept this wording?
Yes.
Paul? Mover, second. Deep? So I'll call your names and please indicate whether you approve, deny, or defer. Dan?
Approve.
Dennis?
Approve.
Deep?
Approved.
Paul? Paul?
Approve.
Okay, and I approve as well. So Roman, this will be subject to a 20-day appeal period.
Okay.
Great. So that's it for the minor variance applications. So next item is item 5, other matters. We have no item 5. The next is adjournment of the Committee of Adjustment at 7:23. Do I have a mover for this? Deep, second. Dan? I'm gonna go around the table. Dan?
Yes.
Dennis? Dennis?
Looks like you lost connection. He just got back.
Dennis? Dennis, you're muted, and what we're doing is voting on the adjournment of the meeting at 7:23.
I'm in agreement.
Okay, Deep
Yes.
and Paul?
Yes.
Okay, I approve as well. So that wraps up the agenda for the minor variances or the Committee of Adjustment. Okay. Okay, so now we're moving into the Planning and Development Advisory Committee, and we have 6 severance applications. 2 of them are related. And I'll go around the table, ask everybody if there's a disclosure of pecuniary interest. Dan?
None.
Dennis?
None.
Deep?
No.
Paul?
No.
And I have none as well. So we'll move into Approval of minutes of March the 10th, 2020. Do I have a mover and a seconder? Moved by Dennis, second by Deep. All in favor? We'll start with going around the table. Dan,
Yes, approved.
Dennis,
Yes.
Deep,
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Great, thank you. So we'll move into next item, which is application for site plan urban design review. There is none. Number 11, zoning bylaw amendment. There is none. Land division. So I'll read out the first item. 12A, seventh application, B24-20, D10/ADD. Joseph Adale, Part Lot 27, Concession 10, 4331 Watson Road South, Bushlands. Proposed severance is 0.68 hectares with 27.57 meter frontage. Existing proposed rural residential use with existing house, well, and septic system. Retained parcel is 1.95 hectares with 111.21 meter frontage. Existing proposed rural residential with existing storage building. Okay, so would you, Courtney, would you please have the agent or applicant move to present their application and present the appropriate drawing?
Yes, if the Madam Secretary could just confirm who the first agent is for me, please, and I'll move them over.
First agent is Nancy Shoemaker.
Hi, Nancy, I see you there, but the mic's off. Hi, Nancy, your mic is still off.
Is it
wait
on?
a minute.
We're good?
Yeah, you're good now.
Okay.
So, Nancy, would you please just state your name and for the record?
Nancy Shoemaker. I'm
Okay.
planning consultant for the owner.
Great, thank you. And Courtney, would you please present the drawing? Thank you. Okay, Nancy, carry away.
So the proposal this evening is to sever off the existing house, including the well and septic system. And the owner intends to retain the larger parcel where there's a storage facility. Excuse me. His plan is to construct a house either beside or on a second floor of that storage facility. We were working with the Grand River Conservation Authority and the county as there was a requirement to provide an environmental report because of the natural heritage features across the road and the regulated area that's to the north of the property. So we've provided that information to the Conservation Authority and they are supportive of the proposed severance. We also have one barn within the MDS calculated area, which we provided the farm data sheets to the county, and they're satisfied with the separation that's required. Your road inspector has been to the site and has reviewed the proposed entrance, which we're showing at the southerly corner of the property. And with the removal of a few trees and shrubs in that area, he's saying that access is acceptable. I'd be pleased to answer any questions.
Okay, then I'll ask Lynn, were there any registrants to speak?
No, we did not receive any.
Lynn, were there also any agency comments received?
The township did not receive any comments.
Okay, very good. Well, let's move into comments by members of the committee or questions. Dan?
No, I've got nothing on this one.
Dennis?
Yeah, the minimum distance separation, you have an unoccupied barn, but it has the capacity to hold animals. So do you not need to fill out what the potential animal units are for that barn? It doesn't look like the MDS is done correctly.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, what the county has requested is that that the owner of that barn fill out his farm data sheet, which shows the size of the facility. And then my understanding is the county actually does the calculation of the MDS based on the farm data sheet. So in their comments to land division, which we received ahead of time because of the timing of this project and the COVID in response to not having Purslinger's response, but they did prepare a report for land division, and they've said that the MDS 1 requirements are met with the proposed severance.
So there is a proper MDS filled out?
Perhaps, Dennis, we should ask the planner that question. Zach, can you answer the question? Is there a proper MDS calculation filled out?
Yes. So through the chair, what we do is we look at the area of the barn, and the province provides estimates based on the area of how many animal units can go in the barn, even though it's not occupied right now. So we do assume that it could hold animals in the future. So we have filled out that form, and it does meet the requirements.
So how many animal units will go in there?
I can send you the completed form. I don't have it in front of me right now, but what we do is there's a MDS software that we provide all the inputs into and then send that out. So
yeah, I have the software, but okay. Just one of our comments probably should be that it should be make sure that it's done right. So.
Sorry, you broke up there, Dennis. When you
sorry, just saying that one of our comments maybe should be that the MDS is properly filled out. From what we see here, it's a little gray to me.
Fair enough. Okay, any other questions, Dennis?
No, I'm good.
Deep?
My question was regarding safe entrance. I guess Nancy already addressed that. I guess that's the only place you can put the entrance.
Through you, Mr. Chairman, yes, because the pond will stay in its place, and the driveway to the north will be the driveway for the existing house.
Okay. And GRC is okay with the conditions are satisfied?
I'm sorry?
GRCA?
Yes.
They're okay with the entrance being...
GRCA has reviewed the application and has provided the county with a letter of support.
Okay, that's it. I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Paul? Paul?
Hello. Sorry, I got disconnected there for a minute.
Yeah.
The only question I had was with regards to the driveway. I was just trying to figure out the width of it beside the pond. Is it? It doesn't show on the sketch. Like is there a safe distance for a vehicle in and out there, considering that you have a pond there?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, yes. And in fact, that if you were at the site, you would see that road is actually in place. That driveway is in place.
Right.
And it's just the small area where it meets the road allowance where the connection has not been completed, which was well removed from the pond itself.
Okay.
Okay, so question I have, you realize you'll be coming back for a minor variance because of the building that's on the retained piece?
Yes, yes, we understand that.
Okay, and you realize that there will be a fee required? Funds held in escrow, I guess, terminology.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, I don't understand what.
We'll have the minor variance there'll be minor variance required for it, and Lynn, if you can explain the fee portion.
You'll just have to pay the fee when you submit the minor variance application.
And the fact that we want assurance that the building will be either demolished or used within a prescribed time.
Right, that will be a condition of the minor variance. We'll enter into an agreement with the owner to demolish the other building once they have received occupancy by the building inspectors.
Okay, so in the event that they do not follow through, is there a funds held in escrow?
There's a paragraph in the agreement that requires a $5,000 security deposit at the time of signing the agreement. And the owner has a specified time period in the agreement to remove it after they have occupancy in the house. If they do that within the time frame, we return the $5,000 to the owner. If we have to bring the building down, then we will use whatever portion of the $5,000 it costs to do that.
Okay, is that clarified for you, Nancy?
Somewhat, but why does the building have, like, he wants to keep that building as well as build his house as a storage facility?
That's the rules that we have in place. So the intent is, my understanding of the intent is that somebody might do the severance and just leave that building on their property and let it go to basically become a derelict building and not do anything about it. So this is there's a date put on when the building has to be either used or demolished, and once that's exceeded, then you can always ask for an extension if you got mitigating circumstances. But certainly, we do not want any buildings that would become derelict and staying on the severed piece.
Okay, so
Well,
what I heard you say is that that building can continue to be there as long as he's building a house or redeveloping that building as part of his house. As long as the house is there, he doesn't necessarily have to demolish it, but he has to build a house.
Correct. The intent is not to have the property vacant and have a building there that's not fit for purpose of a residential home, and then it just goes to waste.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
So I assume, Nancy, if you want, you can contact Lynn and she can give you a copy of the agreement. You can advise your client appropriately.
Thank you.
Okay, so so what I've heard is a suggestion of that the committee has MDS calculations should be provided. There was concern about the GRCA by several committee members, and I'll just say that conditions to be subject to meeting GRCA requirements. And then thirdly, notice that the retained parcel will require a minor variance. So Lynn, do you capture those comments?
As I can read conditions out if you'd like.
Yes, please.
We have our standard 2, that the owner satisfy the township equivalent requirements for financial and taxes paid in full, that the owner obtain an approved entrance permit, verifying safe access and sight lines on the retained parcel, that the owner apply for and receive a minor variance for the lands to be retained to permit an accessory structure to remain on the property, confirmation that the MDS calculations that are provided are correct, and subject to meeting the GRCA requirements.
Okay, great. So do I have a mover and a seconder for these suggested comments? Dan, moved. Second, Dennis. Great, and we'll go around the table. Dan?
Approve.
Dennis? Dennis?
Approved.
Deep?
Approved.
Paul?
Approved.
And I approve as well. Thank you. Moving on to severance application 12C. Sorry, 12B rather. Severance application 12B, B27-20, also known as D10-HAR, George and Dorothy Harris, Part Lot 27, Concession 1, 7182, Concession 1, Puslinch. Proposed severance is 45.2 meter frontage by 148 meters or 0.66 hectares existing and proposed rural residential use with existing house, detached garage, Quonset hut, swimming pool, and storage building. Retained parcel is 12.3 hectares with 19.3 meter frontage, existing vacant land with tile field for proposed rural residential use. Okay, Lynn, are there any agency comments? If so, could you please read them?
No, we did not receive any comments from the agencies or township departments.
Okay, Lynn, were there any registrants received to speak?
No, there were no registrants received.
Okay, and Lynn, were there any written comments received?
No, I did not receive any written comments.
Okay, so then, Courtney, are there any attendees who would like to give comments? I'll just I'll ask them that they take them up with the Land Division Committee. Do you know of any?
No, there's no attendees right now present.
Great, thank you. And then I'll go around the table and ask each of the committee members. Dan?
There was just the issue there about the tile field. It sounded like it was going to be retained on the part, sorry, it was going to, the tile field was going to be on the lands that were retained. And I was curious as to whether that tile field would be removed and a new one.
Okay, you know what, gentlemen, I forgot to ask the applicant to make the presentation. I skipped a step. Okay, so let's ask the applicant to come forward and make this, the presentation.
Mr. Okay, good evening. It's Nancy again.
Okay.
This was an application where the owners have the existing house. They're looking at or considering building a more age-appropriate home on the retained parcel. We had to deal with both conservation authorities, the Grand River Conservation Authority, as well as the Hamilton Conservation Authority. In the end, neither authority had a concern with the proposal. The tile field, I expect, will have to be removed. There are new tile field for the retained and a new tile field for the severed parcel. And I say that because the driveway will be coming up over that area, and I don't think you can drive over top of your tile field. And I expect that the house will be pushed further back into the property. There were, and again, the county has asked us to prepare farm data sheets to submit to them, and then they do the actual calculation for MDS. Obviously, there are a number of existing estate residential homes in the area, but the county has confirmed that the MDS 1 requirements are being met with the application. I'd be pleased to answer any questions.
Okay, Dan, we'll go back to you, Dan.
Yeah, my question was whether the tile field would be removed, because it looked to me like that's where the driveway would be, and that was just a concern.
Yes.
Okay, Dennis?
Yeah, I jump back on the MDS again, that when we get these applications, they should be properly filled out. We shouldn't be guessing at what the calculations are. If there's a mistake, there's no way to know until after the fact. So that's a concern of mine, but that's the only question I have.
Zach, is it possible for future applications we can have the MDS calculations in advance? Is that a possibility?
Yeah, I can bring that back to our office and see what we can provide in advance of this meeting, for sure.
Great, thank you. Okay, anything else, Dennis?
No, that's good, thanks.
Deep?
Yeah, my questions again regarding GRCA. It looks like there's quite of that area that's controlled by GRCA with the 30-meter buffer area. So Nancy, where would that house be situated in the future in the back?
I expect it will be down towards where the Quonset hut is. Does my arrow show up on your screen?
No.
Okay, so there's the house and the pool, and then in behind is a Quonset house, and I expect it will be in that area. But in saying that, it's actually the GRCA is saying they have no regulations in this area, and it's the Hamilton Conservation Authority that so I had to go back and forth between these two authorities, because while our mapping shows one thing, the GRCA claim that they have no concerns in this area. So then we ended up at the Hamilton Conservation Authority, and they indicated they didn't have any jurisdiction here either. So both of them said they didn't have any concerns with the application.
Okay. Yeah, my concern was only with the GRCA and the regulations.
Yeah.
Anything else, Deep?
No.
Paul? Did we lose Paul again? Paul?
He might have got kicked out. I don't see him on the list.
Oh, there he's coming back in. Hi, Paul. Paul?
Yeah.
Paul, perhaps maybe you can kill your video. That would take up less bandwidth. You might not lose us that when you wish to speak.
Sure. Sorry about that, guys.
So Paul, well, I'm going around the table and asking anybody that have any questions. I don't know if you heard Dan Kennedy's question with respect to the tile and the response that will have to be relocated from the future driver location. Dennis asked with respect to the MDS calculations, and I asked Zach, our planner, and he indicated in the future they'll see if they can provide it. And Deep asked with respect to GRCA, and Nancy advised that neither the Hamilton or the GRCA are saying they have jurisdiction in this area, but somebody obviously has to because of wetlands and the natural zone. But they'll come out, I'm sure, down at the Land Division Committee. So Paul, do you have any questions?
No, I do not. Thank you.
Okay, Nancy, first of all, we're going to require minor variance for the width of the frontage on the road. My concern is with respect to the location of the house relative to the other two homes and the future, whoever the future owner is of the home that's going to be severed. Has there been any discussions with the homeowners of the other two homes?
No, at this point, the two that have been carved off previously,
That's correct.
I don't believe, actually, I shouldn't say that. I know that at one point, Mr. Harris approached the adjacent owners to see if they wanted any additional lands to the rear of their lots. And they indicated they weren't interested. And that's probably the only conversation other than him advising them that he is doing this severance.
Okay. Gentlemen, I'm going to suggest that we ask the county to allow us to have the minor variance first. I'm concerned that they may approve the severance. It comes back here for a minor variance, and we're into everybody coming out and objecting to this. So I would rather we request that the item be deferred and a minor variance be requested. Have your thoughts on this, members? So I'll go around the table. Dan, any thoughts?
I think that makes sense, Mr. Chair.
Dennis?
I would support that. Maybe we can get the MDS at the same time.
Yes.
Steve?
Yes, I agree with you.
Paul?
Yes, support.
Okay, so so what we'll do, Lynn, is have a condition that we request that the severance be discussed for approval once the minor variance has been received.
Okay. I can read the condition out if you'd like. I've already got it in the decision.
Would you please? Yeah, well, we can put in the two that were mentioned before, the MDS and the GRCA. I shouldn't say GRC, the conservative, the CAs, conservation authorities, and then this matter of minor variance.
Okay, so do you want me to read out the conditions that I have?
Correct.
We have our standard 2 regarding financial requirements of the township and also an approved entrance permit. Then I have that the owner apply for and receive a minor variance for the lands to be retained for the reduced lot frontage prior to approval of the severance. Confirmation that the MDS calculations provided are correct and subject to requirements of Hamilton Conservation are met.
The appropriate conservation authority.
Okay, I can change that.
And then we request that this matter be deferred until the minor variance is approved.
Okay.
So can you just read the last clause out, the minor variance clause for the committee members?
I have the one about the minor variance, and then confirmation that the appropriate conservation authority requirements are met and that the severance application be deferred until the minor variance is completed.
Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do I have a mover and a seconder? Deep move, second Dennis. So we'll go around the table with respect to approving the comments for submission to the Land Division Committee. Dan?
I approve the comments.
Dennis?
I approve the comments.
Deep?
Approved.
Paul?
I approve.
And I approve as well. Thank you. So we'll move on to 12C, Service Application B 72-19, also known as D10/ING, Gary Ingersta and Stacy Call, part lots 29 and 30, concession 1, 7258, concession 1, Puslinch. Proposed severance is 2.357 hectares with 144.5 meter frontage, vacant land for proposed rural residential use. See additional lot line adjustment B30-20. Retained parcels 20.3 hectares with a 192 meter frontage on concession road 7 and 304 meter frontage on concession road 1. Existing proposed agriculture use of existing dwelling and shed. So the companion to that is 12D. So I propose we discuss 12C first and then we move on to 12D. So Courtney, would you ask the agent and applicant to come forward and present the application? Hi, Jeff, you're muted still. There you go. And Courtney, would you present the drawing? Great, thank you. Okay, Jeff, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and committee members. My internet fades in and out a little bit once in a while, so if things freeze, just bear with me. It usually comes back within 15 seconds. Of course, I can't put a mouse on it, but this application was at the committee before. The very top section there, it talks about, there's 2 spots that says lands to be severed. The first one is lands to be severed is the top part of 1.387 hectares, and that's going to be merged with the parcel to the left. The second severance is the one that was originally before this committee. Those 2 chunks were originally as one bigger chunk of around 2.7, 2.8 hectares. And the committee approved it or supported the application at that time, even though it was quite large due to the whole nature of the property. That below the southern line of the second severance at 200 meters there, that's all bush, and that's all bush right to the property that fronts on concession 1 road. So this pocket of land is kind of like an isolated piece all by itself. It doesn't make sense to keep it with the rest of the property that fronts on concession 7. So the committee did support this larger severance. It went to the Land Division Committee, and just before the hearing, there came to an agreement or an arrangement with the property on the left side there, the lands to be added to, and our client and Gary, that they decided to transfer the top chunk of 1.387 to the property to the left. Now that is the next application. So if I'm going to focus just on the first application, all we can say is it's just gotten smaller since the first time we were at the committee. All in all, it's this change to have a lot line adjustment to add to the property to the left is a good thing. Makes the that new severance smaller. And I'll talk about that lot line adjustment when we bring on the next agenda item. Any questions or comments?
Okay, I'll go around the table. Dan?
I'm fine with this. I see they've got the driveway now proposed in I believe it's in a better location than there was before, so I'm happy with that. And I guess I'll wait until the next one before my next question.
Fair enough.
Other than that, I'm fine with this.
Dennis?
I'm fine with it.
Deep?
No comments.
Okay, Paul?
I'm okay, thank you.
I'm fine with it as well. Just a quick question. Why did the committee deny the larger severance?
They did not deny it. We decided to defer it because it was quite a significant change to have this lot line adjustment at the top. So the first application was just deferred, so really so that the committee could deal with both at the same time.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so I don't have any comments either. So Lynn, would you read out the conditions that you have or comments that we're going to have submitted to the county?
We have our standard 2 conditions for the requirements of the Township of Portsmouth financially, and that includes taxes are paid in full, and also the owner obtain an approved entrance permit, verifying safe access and sight lines based on the use of topography of the land to the severed parcel.
Fair enough. Okay, so I'll ask for a mover and a seconder to approve these comments for furtherance to the Land Division Committee. So have a mover.
Yeah.
Dennis, second. I can't see who else is there. I see Deep, but I can't see anybody else. Oh, there we go. Deep and Dan. Fair enough for second. So we'll go around the table. Dan?
I approve.
Dennis?
I approve.
Deep?
I approve.
Paul?
I approve.
Great, and I approve as well. Thank you. So move on to 12D, lot line adjustment application B30-20, also known as D10/ING, Gary Ingersta and Stacy Call, part lots 29 and 30, concession 17258, concession 1 Portsmouth. Proposed lot line adjustment is 1.387 hectares with 136.1 meter frontage. Vacant land to be added to a budding agricultural parcel. William and Margaret Sims. Retained parcel is 20.3 hectares with 192 meter frontage on Concession Road 7 and 304 meter frontage on Concession Road 1. Existing and proposed agriculture use with existing dwelling and shed. Okay, Jeff?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair. As mentioned briefly, but transfer the top severance of 1.387 meters and added to the property to the left. That's Mr. Sims' property. If you roll down the screen just a touch, Courtney, if that's possible. I'd like to see, no, the other way, the other way. So you can see right now, Mr. Sims, which is the property of the lands to be added to, the driveway for that property actually goes to the north into parcel number 13 there. So it encroaches, that's right, it encroaches over the property line into the abutting parcel. That's existed for a long, long, long time. But the idea is to, bring the driveway back onto say Mr. Sims' parcel. By doing this lot line adjustment, a driveway can be constructed and on that lands to be added. So the main purpose of this addition is to allow Mr. Sims to have a driveway on his own parcel.
Okay, so we'll go around the table.
To his dwelling there. You can see some lines there that talk about an easement that exists there right now. That's roughly where the new driveway will be, at least at the concession 7 road side. So if there's any questions, I'd be glad to answer them.
Hey, Dan?
I think as long as they have safe access, I'm fine with this.
Okay, Dennis?
I'm okay with it.
Deep?
I'm okay as well.
Paul?
Also okay.
Great. I don't have any comments either. So, Lynn, the conditions that we have.
We have our standard 2 conditions that the owner satisfy the requirements of the Township of Portsmouth financially, and that includes taxes are paid in full. And also that the owner obtained an approved entrance permit, verifying safe access to the property.
Great. Okay, so we'll have a mover and a seconder. Move, Dan, second. Dennis? Okay, we'll go around the table. Dan?
I approve.
Dennis?
I approve.
Deep?
I approve.
Paul?
I approve.
And I approve as well. Okay, let's move on to 12E. Severance application B33-20, also known as D10/HOF, Janet Hofstra, Part Lot 128, Concession 4, 6931, Forestdale Road, Puslinch. Proposed severance is 47 front by 90 meters or 0.42 hectares vacant land for proposed rural residential use. Retained parcel of 7.7 hectares at 120-meter frontage. Existing proposed rural residential use with existing dwelling, pool, and tennis court. So Courtney, would you please have the agent join us, unless it's you, Jeff?
Yes, it's me.
Very good. So would you please present your application? Thank you, Courtney.
I've just canceled my video to help my internet link here. This is on Forestdale Road. It's been a while since we've met with this committee. You might remember there was a property about 2 or 3 properties to the east by Liam Rooney of a similar nature that we had a severance created and approved. This is a similar situation. So in this case, the severance will be 47 meters wide, 90 meters deep to get 0.4 of a hectare. We have intentionally set it up so that the retained parcel will stay at 120 meters. That's the minimum for the larger parcel in Puslinch. The city of Guelph typically asks for a 5-meter road widening, so we've included that on this drawing to anticipate that widening, and so we can have a better picture of what the end result would be. Across the road is the Hanlon Creek Business Park. Just recently, Few Street that you see on that drawing is actually a bulb cul-de-sac that's just a touch north of what you see on the drawing. There's been a relatively new factory built on that parcel number 6 on the drawing. But there's also a really big berm on the north side of Forestdale, like on the industrial park lands. And that berm is so significant that when you're on Forestdale Road, you'd be lucky to see the roof of this new, I said factory, but it's a business industrial type building. I'm not even sure what it's used for, whether it's storage or something of that nature. So there is a break that in a river break from the city of Guelph and that development there. Otherwise, it's a great severance and it meets the requirements of a severance. Any questions or comments?
Okay, Dan?
No, I'm good with this.
Dennis?
I'm good.
Deep?
I'm good as well.
Paul?
I'm good.
And Lynn, were there any comments received from the agencies on this one?
No, we did not receive any comments.
Do we have any registrants requested to speak?
No, we do not.
Okay, fair enough. And Courtney, are there any any people watching who would like to ask questions?
No, there are no attendees right now.
Fair enough. Okay, so then let's ask Lynn to read out the conditions.
So the conditions will be our standard 2, that the owner satisfy the requirements financially and that taxes are paid in full and the consent review and clearance fee is paid, and that the owner obtain an approved entrance permit verifying safe access and sight lines.
Okay, do you have a mover and a seconder for this comments? Moved by Deep, second. Second by Dan. So we'll go around the table. Dan?
I approve.
Dennis?
I approve.
Deep?
I approve.
And Paul?
I approve.
Okay, and I approve as well. So then let's move on to the next one. 12F, lot line adjustment application B37-20, also known as D10/DET, Ralph and Jennifer Dieter, part lots 1, 2, and 3, concession Gore, 6525 concession 1 and 6529 concession 1, Puslinch. Proposed lot line adjustment is 14 meters frontage by 76 meters or 0.1 hectares vacant land to be added to a budding parcel for rural residential use. Brendan, Rebecca, Hugh, and Janice McDonald. Retained parcel is 72.6 hectares with 520-meter frontage. Existing and proposed agriculture and residential use with existing dwelling, barn, drive shed, and shed. Jeff, are you the agent?
I'm here. Sorry about that. Do you hear me?
Yes, we do. Yes, so are you the gentleman who's going to talk to this?
Yes, I am.
Great.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No problem. Courtney, would you put up the drawing for us? Great, thank you.
Thanks,
Great.
Courtney. Do you want me to proceed, sir?
Go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, thank you. So we're applying for a lot line adjustment. On the sketch, this is a really large property. So it's really, the action is happening at the top right of that drawing. We've presented a detail. If you could maybe zoom towards that detail more in the heart of the plant of the sketch, Courtney, that might help a little bit. Yeah, and then just raise the whole drawing up the other way. Yeah.
Keep going, keep going,
Yeah.
keep going.
Yeah, bring it up.
Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going.
Perfect.
Oh, no,
it's
go back
flipped.
to where you were. There you go.
Perfect, thank you. That's great. So you can see in that detail there, the details of right where we're going to do. We're going to take 14 meters and add it to this property that was created by consent back in 2016. The person who purchased 6529 made an addition to the property, and also added a turnaround spot for the driveway. That turnaround spot encroaches marginally over the property line. There's a shed really close to the property line. And to, sort of center this, give a little more space to this house, the idea is to add this 14 meters so the parcel just gets a little bit bigger. That's the purpose of the application.
Okay, thank you. So Dan, questions?
No, nothing from me.
Dennis?
Not straightforward, thanks.
Deep?
No comments.
Okay, Paul?
Okay.
Okay, so Lynn, were there any agency comments on this one
No, I didn't receive any.
or staff comments?
No staff comments either.
Okay, fair enough. And were there any written comments from the public?
No, I didn't receive any.
Great, thank you. And Courtney, are there any members in the audience who would like to speak?
We have no attendees at this time.
Great, thank you. All right, so let's ask Lynn if you could summarize the comments.
So I just have the one condition, and that is that the owner satisfy the requirements of the township financial and otherwise, including taxes paid in full and consent review and condition clearance fee. I believe there's already an entrance into that property that it's merging with.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, so it would just be the one comment.
Great, thank you.
You're
So I
welcome.
have a mover and a seconder for this comments. Dennis, second, Dan. We'll go around the table. Dan? Dennis?
Approved.
Deep?
I approve.
Paul?
Approve.
I approve as well. Thank you. So that wraps up the severance applications under the land division. Other matters, we have none, but I'll go around the table in case anybody wants to bring something up. So Dan, anything you'd like to bring up?
No, I'm fine.
Dennis?
I'm good.
Deep?
No, I'm good.
Paul?
Very. I'm not sure
We're losing you, Paul.
I noticed from the first firm with Nancy. Sorry, I'll take my off. Can you guys hear me okay?
We can hear it. Can you repeat it again?
Sorry, yeah. The only thing I was going to say was with regards to the firm that provided sketches for Nancy's firm, I just found, I'm not sure if I'm being overly picky, but if they, like those sketches, they were pretty hard to read, the first two. I don't know if anybody else noticed that. Like, and I'm not really sure if we can even request a little more clarity in them, but I just find them really hard to follow and just the way they present them.
Yes, we had the same comment last time. I guess, Lynn, is it possible that we get better drawings? I know you did something last time around when we had a same difficulty. I think it's the drawings prepared by Nancy Shoemaker's firm that are awfully hard to read.
Yeah, I can request her digital files for any severance application she submits.
Great, so that should help. Anything else, Paul? Good comment.
No, that's it. Thank you very much.
Okay, and Zach, do you have any comments you wish to make?
Nope.
You're good. Lynn?
I'm good, John. Nice to see everybody again, though, I'll say.
Okay, and Courtney, any comments you wish to make in terms of the process we went through and presentation and suggestions for future?
I think it went excellent tonight. Good job, everybody. I know this is a tough change, moving to a remote meeting, and I thought it went really well.
Okay, so question for Courtney and Lynn, is the August meeting likely to be the same as well?
As a virtual meeting,
Yes.
I'll leave that up to Courtney to answer.
Likely, I would say likely, just given the actual physical arrangement of our council chambers. I'm not sure if we could meet minimum social distancing requirements, and also with the challenge of the office still being closed and no access to the public, that would be challenging as well. So I would say probably for August, we're looking at a remote meeting.
Okay, and Lynn, do we have any idea how many minor variances and severances we have for next week?
Sorry, John, I have one minor variance and I have no severances.
Okay, so is that likely to continue, or is that sort of still to come?
No, by Friday I should know if there's any severances, but Zach, I don't believe land division meets in August, right? So we'll probably get back up to speed in September. I don't expect any more minor variances. I don't know if I'll get any severances by Friday.
Okay, so we're only looking at one item. Okay, fair enough. Okay, if nobody else, anything else? So we closed meeting, we have none. Next meeting is Tuesday, August 11th at 7 o'clock, same format. And the adjournment, I've got 8:17. So I have a mover to adjourn the meeting at 8:17. Dennis, second. Dan? Okay, we'll go around the table. Dan?
Yes.
Dennis?
Yes.
Deep?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Okay, and I as well. Okay, thank you very much and have a good evening, gentlemen.